Welcome to the Global Wellness HQ family of podcasts. We are your international headquarters for resources and ideas and insight in relation to the 9 elements of holistic wellness. Join us as we interview local and international wellness experts and learn how you can implement and improve one element or dimension of wellness at a time. Our experts will share their practical tips on wellness in one of these core areas: emotional, intellectual, occupational, physical, environmental, financial, spiritual, social, or habitual. We created our family of podcasts as a resource for anyone who is looking to integrate the 9 elements of holistic wellness into their daily lives. Welcome to the show. The Global Wellness HQ family of podcasts is proudly sponsored by the Global Wellness HQ community. It's an online membership group where we meet, we share ideas, we share insights, and we all work together and help one another discover our own personal wellness journeys. If you'd like to join us, you can easily click the link below or scan the QR code, and we love hearing your stories, so we hope to see you in the community. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I'm excited. Today we have my new friend, Nicole Borghi. Nicole, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Jeff. Glad to be here.
So let's jump right in. Why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do for your clients?
Oh, awesome. Good question. Thank you. I know I love talking about it. I get excited about what I do because I finally got into my niche. I'm Nicole Borghi, aka Digital Diva, and I'm a speaker and a podcast host. But I also share with podcasters how to brand their business through the power of podcasting and really standing out and shining so they can gain more profit and share their passion. I love podcasting. I love talking to you. We're having a great conversation. And that's what podcasting is about. And if you can have a conversation that empowers others, but yet you can brand it, right? You can do your business, and your business these days needs to be more ingenious and more creative. And how do you do that? You stand out, you get out there, and you just work in your solar plexus. So I really get excited about that.
I love it. And I think that's something I'd like to address is a lot of people say, oh, the world doesn't need another podcast, or what would I talk about? Let's maybe give a little hope to those who want to be podcasters. And then I think we'll focus on those who are podcasters and how they can do better with it. So what would you say to somebody who says, I don't know what I'd talk about, or the world doesn't need another podcast?
Okay, so great. And I just was giving a speech about this as a summit. And it's really about, I was at Populace and I share with people, when you find your niche and you have a passion, right? We all have this passion. We want to serve the world. We want to serve 1 million people, or whatever your mission is, or that good shining heart space moment where you're getting into that heart energy and that heart chakra. You're like, hey, I want to save the world. Well, that's wonderful, and I'm all for it. But if you do that, what's the plan? What's that purpose? Now you've got to turn that into a purpose. So if your purpose is to share, let's just say, let's just say, hey, I want to serve pets, or I want to rescue pets. Well, if you talk about animals, you want to dogs are your favorite. You want to talk about dogs. Well, that's your passion. You love, you have this Great Dane at home, and you love your dog, and you love to talk about dogs, and you're on Facebook with dogs. So you kind of get the point where everything's you're in
Dogs,
that
dogs,
dog world,
dogs.
right? So you're in all this the universe of dogs, but that's your passion. Well, now your purpose is to save the Great Danes. So you want to, your purpose, your move to save them. You want to get them some good medical care vets. You want to get the dogs off the street, or you've got dogs you want to rescue, and so. But now your purpose is to rescue these dogs and give them shelter and give them a good home and breathe them healthy. You don't want to do the mall dogs, the dogs in the box store. You want to get them in a wild, or get them in a good home. Someone will take care of them. And so now you have a purpose, but there has to be somewhere where you get the money. So if you do that, that's a profit scale. So you have to have money somewhere. Why not make that money in your podcast? Why not talk about dogs? You love dogs. Talk
Yep.
about taking dogs for a walk, taking your dogs for a hike. Ooh, now my purpose is to save the dogs. And so the third thing is it goes passion, purpose plus profit. And how do you get that? So you want to move that circle. Somebody has to bring that money in, whether you want that donation. If you're making money in your podcast, that podcast money can go to your dogs. So now you don't have to knock the door down. Hey, I have a great idea. I want to save the dogs. Can you give me some money? You're asking Uncle Joe, you're asking the ladies at work, you're going to
Always
the water
begging.
cooler, right? So now you're begging for money. And people just like, dude, dogs, really? I want to save cats.
Yep.
So therein lies the back and forth. Well, you can't save everything, so find your niche. It's just like a business. You're finding a niche. You're making this a business. Now you're bringing profit into that. You can make money. You can pay for your podcast. Your podcast takes time and money. You want to put it out there. You want to get it edited. Why not do this yourself and put it in this pretty little bow? And now you're moving out there. Now you get to talk about dogs all day. Now you get to support the dogs. Now people get to hear it. So when people go to the Google God and they're like, I want to save the dogs, they find your podcast. Now
Love
you're
it.
out there, right?
And we'll talk a little bit about monetizing, but the reality is, and I take a strategic view, the people you interview will also share your passion for saving dogs, and they'll introduce you to other people who are passionate. So it's a wonderful networking tool. And a lot of people look at me and say, "What are you, crazy?" But I can add value to my community by bringing in other experts. Somebody might be a dog nutritionist, somebody might be a dog, believe it or not, I've met one, a dog psychologist. It's,
You never know.
you never know. You can get the dog walkers, the dog groomers, the people who provide the organic dog food. Um,
Right.
why not focus on something you're passionate about?
Well, 100%. Not only you're getting passionate, you're putting the good word out, your mission, you're driven, you got the purpose, you got your niche, you're getting the word out. Now you're having guests that make the organic dog food. Now you have the what was it, the dog psychiatrist or whatever, or
Psychologist, whatever.
psychologist. And so I don't got my dictionary. So, but you're giving them a platform to be heard, and awareness. You're sharing a heart space. Now it's a heart centered business, and we talk about that all the time. But a lot of times we miss talking about what exactly a heart centered business is. But now you're further serving the community because you got the organic lady who loves to make dog food in her home. But now you can have people, you can drive traffic to her YouTube channel, drive traffic to her website, and now she can make money making the thing that she loves. So now we're all propelling each other back and forth. And I forget the exact words that Michio Kaku had, and I usually have this quote up, but he really talked about the importance of the change these days, how we need to be in our creative space, be ingenious, invent something new, because we're no longer going to have a purpose or be needed in the 9 to 5 business anymore.
Yeah.
And now everybody's realized they can work from home, or they can have a space that they can share with their family or their friends or their business. They can have their own business, they can make their own hours, but now it's a business. And you're supporting the smaller community businesses and putting the word out. Ooh, it just goes so far everywhere.
Well, and I find way too many people are, they're addicted to activity, and they think, "Oh, I need to pay for this, I need to do that." You can do a lot with a podcast. I mean, you can mobilize your troops, you can engage your volunteers, you can engage sponsors. I've seen podcasts that, they focus on mobilizing people to vote for significant issues. It's amazing if we do podcasting right, and I want to hear more of your thoughts on that. How much impact a tiny little podcast can have.
Well, podcast, when you're doing this and you're rebranding your mission, your purpose, or your business, and you're putting yourself out there, so you're constantly branding and marketing yourself on a soulful level, instead of that, ooh, bad marketing salesman issue that wants me to pay $1 million and put out a Google ad. Well, you're doing it by word of mouth. You're doing this by commercials. You're doing this with branding yourself and putting your logo out there. Now you're putting that on your social media. People see you. Now the people that need to be attracted to you on a frequency level will find you, and you can discuss and you can have that mission and that purpose. But whether it's an issue for voting or an issue you're talking about, children in school, or raising children and sharing that issue, whatever it is, you are sharing a voice. So it's so important for me when I tell clients, I get so passionate in that point where I'm like, hey, look, um, we really need to focus on how that podcast looks. Because, first of all, people don't last past 7 episodes or 30 days. The majority of podcasts, there's at least 2.4 million podcasts out there. The last time I looked at it, and is about 66 million episodes. Well, if people find you, you need to show up. You need to support yourself and be the leader that
Yeah.
that gets into self leadership, and that gets into the fragments of you. Are you showing up for you? Are you showing up for your cause? And are you showing up for your community? Instead of being triggered and out there and getting activated and getting on your soapbox with your bullhorn, and nobody wants to pay attention to you because there's so much going on, and you're in scarcity mode, or you're in victim or survivor mode, and you're pounding the pavement. Why not have this beautiful Discord where you can talk and
Well,
you can really share with people what that definition of your mission is?
and I love that, the power of that mission, because nobody gets excited about, hey, everybody, I'd like to make a few extra bucks. Would you buy my stuff? Well,
Mhm.
no. But if you're on a mission, and I love your mission, I mean, your mission is literally to help podcasters be better at what they do. That mission attracts people who care. And, I find it interesting that you and I met through Janine Boland, and her passion is to help creatives, whatever that is, whether it be with books, with networking, with podcast. She's got a lot of things going on. And what I would say for anybody listening to this is, have a chat with Nicole. I don't know a single business, and Nicole, you can tell me otherwise. I can't think of a single business, whether it's for profit or nonprofit, that wouldn't benefit from a well executed podcast. What are your thoughts?
That's huge. That's really huge, because whether you're talking about just your personal business, or now you're making that subject and that mission your business, if your podcast stands out, it's got that logo, it's got the intro, it's got a little bit of a commercial, and you can use your own affiliation on your own commercials, and you're really driving that purpose home, and you kind of have a few questions and a little bit of strategy, because not many people can stay focused mentally in having a conversation. We kind of get into that shiny object syndrome, or we go down a rabbit hole. So if you have a few questions lined up and you stay in those basic forms, and you have either a pre-booking or discussion ahead of time before the podcast, those are a few simple steps.
I
I put that in my book, Cracking the Podcast Code, and share with that. You stand out, you look professional, people want to hear you.
Well, and the thing is, if you're passionate about something, and it could be, I've met somebody who wants to do a podcast on pet rocks. I personally don't think I'd be excited about that, but there's more to it than just the physical act of owning and possessing a rock. There's the movement, there's the marketing, there's supply chain issues. Like there's fascinating things in every industry. And I know a lot of fitness experts who could benefit from a podcast, because and they say, well, there's a bunch of other ones. Well, I look at podcasting as a buffet, and one of my mentors shared this with me, and the buffet is, if you think about it, somebody out there can only eat the dish that you prepare, and if you don't bring a dish to the buffet, to the potluck, that person's going to go hungry. And I think,
100%.
with podcasting, your audience will find you. And I'm going to be honest, and this might shock some people out there, but I have podcast episodes that my goal is, if one person listens to it, that was a successful podcast.
And I like that, but I've moved up from the one person and say now you can hit millions.
Yeah.
So every one person, and so that the 6 degrees of separation, every one person you help, when they get better in their environment, and this is from that self leadership point of view and into the self mastery. As somebody develops into the self mastery and their frequencies heighten and their vibes change, you're helping their family.
Yeah.
Right now they're successful, now they're happy, now they're allowing the abundance that they try to manifest every day to come in. Now you're helping them at work, so now you're affecting 20, 100 coworkers. Now they're going to the coffee shop, now they're like, hey, good morning to the coffee person, leave them a tip. Now the coffee
It
person is like,
ripples.
hey, you've come in, right? So now you're helping millions. You're never just helping one person.
Yeah.
It's just so dynamic and so diverse, and that's how you're doing that. You're just hitting those degrees of separation, and we talk about that now, even just in shows like on Gaia or Gaia TV, and you're watching these change with people. They're affecting everybody, and
I
there's so much more.
I love it. Now, let's get into some of the tips, because I know you're an expert, and we will put, in the show notes. You have a, cracking the podcast code. You want to tell me about that first, and then we'll get into some of the other stuff.
Sure, awesome. So, cracking the podcast code is really that code, and you're ciphering what is all this podcast junk and stuff and these things. It's so much. Wow. If it's too much for you, hand it off to somebody else. Let them launch your podcast. Let them do your commercials. Do that. Hire a speaking coach if you're on a podcast and you're having a hard time articulating, or you're feeling a little uncomfortable, and you can't do that little kind of chit chat. But it really does. You don't have to go way out there. Just starting a podcast, pick up your phone, put yourself on video, get comfortable with it. You got to unmute. Where's the unmute button? Simple little reminders to say, oh, this is what I do. Reminders to say, hey, when you're on a podcast and you're on other people's podcast, you're in that OPP format. You want to make sure that you're shining for the host. You're following the host guidance. You're supporting the host, and that way the host will support you. And you remember to leave a review, and you remember to go into leaving them a note. Hey, thanks for letting me be on your podcast. Or hey, how can I help you? How can I support you to share this podcast? Little quick easy steps that take 5 minutes. And when you have a thank you letter draft, or you're trying to reach out to get on their show, you have a simple letter that is kind of cut and paste, and you're just throwing it out there, changing the name. You're set up, you're setting yourself up for success. More people want you on your show. You can talk more about your mission. You could talk about your purpose. You could talk about your business. And that's just simple back and forth. Oh, okay. It gives you a structure. And, today we need a bit of a structure and a plan, especially as holistic entrepreneurs. We kind of just want to jump in there. And I put myself in there too. Hey, I just like doing this. This is a kind of side hobby. Well, if you want people to continue that conversation and you want to be heard, follow a little bit of a strategy and make it a habit, turn it into a ritual. And then every day or every time you're on it, you're ready to go and you don't feel lost. You feel supported. And that's that universe giving you a big hands up and saying, here, I've got you, right? I've got your back. And just make it fun and get your message out there.
I love it. I love it. And what are some of the things people could do to get started? I think, like, I see a lot of people worrying about, do I have the right technology? Do I have the right this? Do I have the right that? Um, do you recommend certain equipment to get them started? I personally, I think they need the mindset first, but
Yes, yeah. I 100% concur with that. The mindset, it is really the mindset and the moment. Be in the moment, have your clear intention. So when we talk about niche and say I'm serving this kind of clientele, I'm serving 30-year-old females with Great Danes. So you have your niche, but that's
yeah,
still your mission, and those are who you're serving. When you have that and you're in your heart space and you're sharing that, you're rising with the heart-centered entrepreneurs. And so now that beautiful mission is shared with others. Now you're in that mindset. Take a moment, pause, pray, meditate. What is your intention for coming in? And when you're doing that, now you have the mindset, you have the intention, and you're moving past that. Always it's, I share, hey, you can always get a Blue Yeti, but right now I've got a headpiece on, and I like this microphone, and I don't have the name of it here with me. But what works for you? What are you comfortable on? You know, do you have the space? Do you have to? You can climb in your closet and do a podcast, so there's no noise.
yeah,
When are you podcasting? But you, when you have a good system. It only costs you a couple $100 if you get into some simple tools. Your mic, you want to have the mic cover, the little spittle part, or you want to have something that's not going to give all that feedback, and learn to mute sometimes if you have to cough. We please, when we're listening, it hurts the ear a little bit. And what's your tonality? So that goes into mindset. Now you've practiced. What do you sound like? If you won't listen to you, nobody else is going to listen to you. If you don't watch you or your mannerisms on Zoom or on video, who's going to watch you? Grab your phone, go to your Instagram channel or Facebook or whatever it is, do a live and tell people, hey, I'm going live and I'm learning to play with this. People will watch you. Let them laugh with you.
yeah,
Let them laugh at you being human. Laugh with them and say, hey, now you're connecting. You're like, oh, hey, I forgot to unmute, or there's a hair sticking straight up, or my lipstick was a little crooked, or just simple things. We all do it,
yeah.
but you do it enough times, then you get practice, and people are supporting you and giving you, some healthy feedback. But you can always delete it.
I
So,
love that.
right? It's just the simplicity. Pick up your phone and try it out. And then from there, how do you sound? Don't get overly crazy. You can't be perfect. Don't get into imposter syndrome, but play around with a conversation. If you can, if you have somebody that has a podcast or somebody that has a little bit more experience, just get on a Zoom and don't go live and talk with them. Record it and go, okay, maybe my pitch, how's my tone? What am I eye candy? Am I having some ear pleasure? How's the audio? How's the video? Just a little bit of a critique, and then move from there. And each time you grow by doing it. It's just like yoga, it's a practice.
I love that. And I think that's, I've had people say, could you teach me how to podcast? And it's like, for me personally, if you have to ask, maybe I can't, because, I can't teach you how to be curious. I can't teach you how to ask questions. Now I can teach you the mechanics of podcasting. So I'm going to switch gears just a little bit. First of all, what's your favorite tool for podcasting that most people may not have discovered until they listen today?
Well, one of my favorite tools is Anchor. And I share with people, hey, if you're podcasting, you want to get out there, you can use Anchor. It's free. It goes to Spotify, iHeart, Amazon. So when you're sharing your podcast, you can share it with the world. And doing that and YouTube, or Zoom. So I would say Anchor and Zoom are kind of a part and parcel. They go together because you get the video. You can always edit it if you need to. And the other thing is that you get the audio, you throw it on Anchor, and now you can go to the world. Now your podcast is official. What does it sound like? And you use these free tools and play around with it, and then go, hey, can you share my channel? Your channel grows, your social media grows, and your outreach grows. So that mission to be that podcaster is best served with the simple tools we have, that we don't have to go out and spend a $1 trillion and then not know how to use the tools. If you're not tech savvy and you don't know how to use the tools, and you're not reaching out to somebody that can share, get on a call with you on a Zoom call and see how the equipment works, or come over to your house and check it out for you, then don't use it. If it's sitting in your closet, it's no good.
And I would say the best tool is the tool we use. Now, one of my favorites, if I can share this with you, I love crisp.ai, and I love it to the point people think I'm on their affiliate program. I actually have an affiliate link. I can't be bothered to look it up. Crisp is a whopping, I think, $5 a month or something, but it's a virtual microphone, and it eliminates all of that background noise that we try so hard to avoid, doorbells ringing, cats, dogs, kids, whatever it is. It literally optimizes. It's a virtual microphone, and it'll cut out all that background noise. And I have a construction zone near me. People are like, your audio is so quiet, how do you do it? And it's all that app. So yeah, again, I love tools. And you mentioned Anchor. I assume that's anchor.fm. Is that?
I believe so. And it got bought out by Spotify. What I
Yep.
love is I use Audacity, and I use it to record for ACX, for narration. And Audacity does the same thing. And it's got a free tool as well. So start out free and see if it works. Even $5 is not too much.
Yeah.
You can always cancel, but get on there and get something, because you need to take that background sound out, or you're crackly, or your voice is dry, and it'll soothe that out so people will listen to you. And that's another way to get people to listen to your podcast, is your tonality. And so how do you do it? So use a little cheat, hey, use a Snapchat filter. If you're not, hey, I'm not feeling a little up, or it's just a fallback to say, hey, I've got a safety net here. I'm going to enhance a little bit here, and I'm going to enhance a little bit here, right? And you're putting on that glamour, right? And sometimes it's a little bit of something to hide behind, but sometimes it's something, a tool to utilize to stand out and shine just a little bit more.
I love it. And I will second that. Audacity is by far one of my favorite tools. I've gone toe to toe with a friend who's a professional audio producer, and he spent probably about 20,000 on his gear and his software. And he got really annoyed with me, Nicole, because I sent him a sample, and he's like, that is just as good as mine. And I'm not saying this is subjective. He's got it up on the screen looking at the levels, and he's like, with a free software, you literally did exactly what I could do with my $20,000 software.
100% software. I grew up in Silicon Valley back in the day when we had Pong and 10.5-inch floppy disk, right? And Atari finally came out. So the technology just in our phone has changed and soared so much. Just start with these small tools to get familiar and comfortable. There is a 2-minute YouTube millennial video somewhere out there that they will share with you how to do this and press buttons. And if you can watch and listen for 2 to 5 minutes, you will learn how to utilize all this. And also, hey, reach out to me. I'm out there too to help you.
I love it. And not to annoy people, but my 13-year-old son, he teaches tech for older people, and it's fascinating because anybody under the age of 20 seems to just, they were born with devices in their hands, and it's easy for them to do. Now, I could talk to you about podcasting all day, but I know you've got a schedule to keep, and I do too. What is something somebody listening can do? How can they get to know you better and explore your world a little bit more?
Well, they can definitely email me, and that's up right now. They can go reach out to me at Nicole@NicoleBorghi.com is my email address. I would give you my website, but I kind of got locked out of it. Hey, technology, woo! But I can be reached out there. I'm sure it'll be out in the show notes. You could find me on Instagram or LinkedIn and just message me and say, hey, here, I want to know a little more, because my mission is to really serve podcasters, guest and host, and to create an experience and make that process simple, efficient, and stress-free.
Excellent. Well, is there anything, so you're the expert, is there anything I should have asked you that I haven't, or any last minute comments your brain is just bubbling to perk out and share with the audience?
I can go in a million directions, but my thing is really to develop, and I always want to, from a frequency standpoint, I always say go within so you can go without, so you don't go without. But this podcasting and this new rise of the heart-centered entrepreneurs is beginning with you on your podcast and getting your voice heard and your message out.
I love it. Well, Nicole, I want to thank you. I know you have lots going on and your world is exciting right now, but I want to thank you for taking the time to hang out with my listeners and I as we talk about podcasts.
Awesome. Thank you. I had a great conversation with you today.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to our show. We hope that you enjoyed this episode, and we invite you to either click the link below or scan the QR code to register and listen to other episodes of our podcast. Or if you think your business or you would be a great guest to be on our show, we're always looking for experts in one of the 9 elements of holistic wellness. We'd love to have you. You can either click the link below or you can scan the QR code and complete our speaker intake form. Thank you, and to your wellness.